Hello, my friends. You are on another Mavs Coffee Clarity. That's right, where we're spilling the beans on business intel and life hacks you can use, always infused with humor. My guests bring their aha moments, their silver linings, their triumphs, and their challenges here to Mavs Coffee Clarity. It's like coffee with a friend. You know, the way we can move forward is just by sharing the good stuff in life, helping one another. Today, I have an incredible guest. Somebody that I've had the fine fortune of meeting recently, Audrey Herrick. Am I saying Herrick correctly?
You are.
Okay. Her business is called Awaken with Audrey.
Yes.
She is a holistic energy medicine practitioner. Am I saying that correctly?
Sure.
Okay. And I've experienced her reflexology, her Reiki, her healing services. But, you know, I'm always attracted to people with very powerful energy. So sometimes we get, you know, we have our own ideas of what powerful energy is. Is it somebody, you know, from the stage shouting things? Or is it the healer like Audrey that has such incredible power in healing modalities that when you leave her space, I'm telling you, I was like revived. And I couldn't think of anybody better to have a Saturday coffee chat with than you. I'm so thankful you came on.
Denise, I'm thankful. This is great. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you're in the she shed.
Me too.
It's quite a crazy place, isn't it?
It's not crazy. It's gorgeous. It has great energy. It's vibrant. It's loving. I love it.
Well, welcome
It's
again.
creative.
Yeah. Well, we want everyone here to feel the creativity, and hopefully we're going to ooze it over to the audience. So I was introduced to you earlier this year as I've been renovating and working here in Western Mass. And what I loved about your powerful yet very quiet energy was it was so authentic. But I'm guessing you haven't always been in a healing business. You might have done other things before, or were you always a healer? I want people to understand the story of Audrey.
Okay. So, yes, I was always doing healing work, but not as a profession. And,
Okay.
definitely came here with my channel wide open, you know, spirit giving me messages constantly, which was actually kind of funny to navigate a human experience, seeing things that other people didn't see and feeling things, all of that. But I love my background because, you know, I was in a lot of musical theater. Love to just, my soul's always expressing, right? Musically, painting is something that I just can't wait to get into. My soul's been like, I have to paint. So I'm loving your creations here. So right out of college, I was a broadcast journalist.
Okay.
And I just thought I really wanted to use this beautiful medium of expression and communication. Only at that time, I really didn't enjoy what I was talking about. And at the same time, my father died very suddenly at 49. So I got out of that and then really kind of cracked open my world to say, what do I want to do? Got into advertising, which I loved. It was just a lot of relationships, right? It's just important for me to be relating with people and their energy. And then after that, did a couple of things and then had my 3 children. I was just so fortunate to be a stay-at-home mom for 13 years. Then I opened Awaken with Audrey in 2010.
Oh.
And
I didn't, first of all, know you had 3 children.
yes.
You are very youthful.
Well, thank you. So are you, Denise. We all are.
Well, trying. Yeah.
Yes, they're adult children.
Are they adult children?
They
Okay.
are. They're beautiful. Yep, my greatest gifts. So it's a little bit about me. So at any rate, I started receiving some healing work, and it totally changed my life.
When you say healing work, for people that aren't familiar with healing work or may have various definitions in their mind, what are you referring to?
Well, in this very she shed many years ago, which we've just surprisingly and excitedly found out, was the first time I received Reiki. So Reiki and reflexology were the first things that I ever received, and then actually turned around to learn them many years later and help other people receive them as well.
So I make a grand assumption sometimes because it's prevalent, but I don't know that everyone knows what Reiki or reflexology is.
I don't think they do, Denise. So Reiki is a type of energy healing, and you are the vehicle for this beautiful type of healing. So there's a lot to learn. You know, it's not it's something that we feel, it's experiential, but it's not really something that you can necessarily talk about. It's just in that unseen energy world, which I'm very familiar with. And then reflexology is an art and science of every organ and system in your body has a corresponding part on the feet. So when you're working on the feet, you're activating kidneys, you're opening the meridians, you're detoxifying, you're giving a boost of energy to all the organs. It's really, there's so much that your body tells you through your feet. So I love it.
So similar to like an acupuncture,
It can
and that it opens channels, but connected to the organs through the feet and other areas, I'm sure.
It is. And, organs feel a certain way, like the health of your organ and your systems feels a certain way. So I'm constantly checking that. Like I'm checking a myriad of 8,000 things in your feet while the person is really deeply relaxed and enjoying a session.
I myself respond very well to reflexology. I mean, massage, acupuncture, yes. Reflexology, it's like my go-to. So what has been your greatest feedback from your client? Like, what's the greatest thing that happened to them in a reflexology session? And we're going to get back to you and your story, but I want people to really understand that this healing, first of all, not everybody's a great Reiki or reflexologist. It's just the truth. Mm-hmm. Just like there's not always a great hair cutter. Mm-hmm. You have to find who matches you. And we were talking about that before we started the show, right? Your essence, your energy, you need to know yourself well enough so you attract the right reflexologist, the right banker, the right personal trainer, nutritionist, whatever, even significant other, right? So, but then there's people that are good at their craft and maybe people that need more training or maybe they're in the wrong craft. So what was the greatest thing? Because I'm imagining because I've had your reflexology, somebody has had to have some major breakthroughs that blew your mind.
Definitely. Back to an earlier point just for a second. For me, I'm always reading energy. So I think what sets my work apart is I'm constantly reading what's in your body and what's the trauma, what's getting ready to leave, what's coming up and out of consciousness. And I do that whether I'm doing reflexology or just a straight energy session. So as far as reflexology, I don't know about the most exciting things. I constantly hear people say they've never been more relaxed. Mm-hmm. They've never felt this clear energy in their body. Some people help them to get pregnant. Some people help them remove, cysts, helping them with MS, a whole bunch of things. Because it activates everything within you and it detoxifies at the same time. So we all want that, right? We're constantly releasing what no longer serves and taking in higher frequencies for our healing. So
that's incredible. Okay, so Awaken with Audrey starts in 2010. How do the kids feel about it?
Well, it was very new. I was there. I was always there with them for everything. Loved being a stay-at-home mom. So it was a little difficult, actually, to make that kind of break into me being who I am in this other way, mm-hmm. and also not physically being there all the time. So, that would be a question for them to answer. But I do remember they were a little bit younger then, and it was a little, it was just, we had to take a little time to settle in that way.
Because I think a lot of women, even at any age, I was going to say at a certain age, but any age, right? When they return to work, it is a transition, which also requires energy shifting on everybody's part, right?
Yes.
Really. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I wake up with a quagmire of energy. I'm like, oh my God, did I pick up some green, nasty, toxic oil from where? And I have to do some things to kind of shift my energy just to be prepared and be on point. Very, public communicator. You can't be sort of ratchet. And it really comes down to your energy. So now you've got the kids kind of settled. Did you get any backlash from your friends? Like, what are you doing? What? I'll speak for myself. Why don't you just go to the post office where you'll get good benefits? What is wrong with you? What? You went to college for what? And now you're doing what? Oh, shameful.
I don't know that it was backlash in that way, but yes, let's just say I exposed a lot of people to a world that they had no idea existed or what it was. And because society didn't value it in a certain way, nor did they. So I definitely had a lot to overcome, which of course helped me be completely who I am more and more. But, it was definitely difficult.
You had to have some humorous moments along the way.
Of course.
With the naysayers, right? Like when you're exposing people to something really new, are they like, what were you doing? other than just being your kind, powerfully quiet, energetic Libra self?
Well, here's what I did. I lured them in with Saturdays. I gave free 15 minutes of healing because people would walk by. I was on Main Street. I would watch everybody walk by, wave, and I'm like, why don't they come in? Why don't they come in? And I actually opened with someone who did massage, and I thought, well, that's great. So, but she ended up leaving within the year, and I'm still here. Almost
Main Street
in Sheffield.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Which is a quiet little town anyways.
Well, it is, but people would walk past me to go to the liquor store all the time.
They needed that energy better.
Yeah, and then wave. And I'm like, you would just come in. I could help you on so many levels. But, we can't fish them in. They have to be ready. And
right.
They seek us out when the time is right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you have to have a huge amount of humor in dealing with how people, you can feel them afraid, or you can feel that they just think, oh, I don't know what that is.
You're kind of quacky. Right. What is she she doing? She's doing something quacky.
Yeah. Which is the most natural thing. We are energy. But we've been we forget that. People forget that. They're just in this societal view that doesn't acknowledge and welcome that.
Right. And I always say to people, like, you have a honing mechanism. You have a gut reaction. When you walk into a room and you sense you like somebody or you don't like somebody or you're comfortable or you're not comfortable, that's your energy. That's that's not some radio chip planted in your brain. That's your natural honing mechanism.
And I love that you brought up radio, because that's what I was going to say. It's hysterical that people will accept, I don't see, sound waves, but I can turn this on and listen to music, or I don't know how this is working, but, it works because it's in front of me. And I'm like, you're the same way. You have that power. You're full of energy. You can transmit it. You can magnetize it. You can radiate it out. But people just remove themselves. It's like, they just...
That's an interesting topic, too, because people are very concerned about the 5G waves and all that kind of stuff happening right now, right? And you're right. It's the unseen waves that now have part of the population, like I'm being microwaved when I walk outside.
Yes.
One of the very first classes I ever took years ago was on telepathy.
Oh.
And I, as a young person, always just thought people had the same intuition. I believe they do. They just don't turn it on. They don't turn the button on. Mm-hmm. So you just show them how to turn the button on. Yes. And once you show them the very first time how to turn the button on, they're like, maybe. And then either they're really in or they're like, I'm not going to try it again. But somewhere along the line, they try it again. And I think more so wellness and holistic practices are becoming main. I mean, look at what's happening in mainstream medical right now, right? They're bringing healers in, not foregoing, herbal treatments and things like that. So we're on the rise.
Yes.
We're on the rise. Woo-hoo. All right. So now 2010, you open, you're kind of giving away the 15 minutes. Now what is happening?
Well, it was a slow process. But so I started mainly with reflexology because I felt like it was safe. I would be at the person's feet. They're fully dressed. And then as these hits would come in for me, once I felt more comfortable, I would say, so I'm feeling this in your body, or I'm seeing, this happened to you when you were 4. And, and then they would be like, how did you know that? And I would say, well, I'm reading your energy, and that's what your energy is telling me. But, it freaks them out. So I had to learn to go pretty slowly. And then those clients would say, actually, could you do more energy work on me? Like, I want to know what you're seeing, what you're feeling. So it was a slow process of really just gaining, trust and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you move off of Main Street? So, okay, now you're realizing you have a practice that's worth something, and you're moving it and you're doing it slowly. What did you do to keep yourself fueled? For example, like, were there times you wanted to quit?
Never.
Never. Okay, that's very positive and powerful, because I think a lot of times I hear from people, I'm just going to quit. I say, you're going to quit? Where's the original thing you fell in love with?
Yeah, never, never, never. All I wanted to do was grow more, reach more people. Financially, it was always hard. It still sometimes is, but I never gave up hope. I just know that's what I'm here to do. I see miracles, miracles, a shift in perception, a shift in energy. See it happen constantly every day. And I just look forward to reaching more audiences. And I love teaching. I grew a little bit more to say, I really love like having a group of people that I can help them learn how to do this for themselves.
Mm-hmm. So do you teach other practitioners, or do you teach your clients to be able to be self-sufficient and do it more so on themselves?
It's both, because some practitioners come up, but there've kind of been like 4 modules that I've been working on in the few years. One is Divine Feminine Empowerment, which I love. It's like an all-day training of healing, just to awaken people's power, help them heal the wounded feminine, to get into, divine feminine, and I give them lots of energy tools to embody that.
What's the wounded feminine?
Funny, I'll tell you a story that just happened today, Denise, with myself. So I had my whole day planned today, which I loved. Just a great day. So looking forward to being with you. I had some clients this morning. Then I had a client that I care for deeply, text me, could you see me this weekend? And I, instead of thinking, what works for me, right away went into pleasing, like, oh, I would love to fit her in. She needs my help. And tried to finagle, change other schedules, and then sat with it for a minute and said, wait a minute. My schedule is set. In honoring myself, this is a no. It doesn't matter how much someone else needs that. And, I realized, wow, I still have this lesson to learn, a layer of it, because instead of me checking in first with what fits for my schedule, because when I'm in my power and I'm honoring myself, I can lead other people at a much higher level.
For sure.
But I went to that people pleasing. Oh, someone needs, I've got to, so I just laughed and forgave myself, said, okay, I'll do another loop of this, like clear that out, Audrey, and go first for what works for you. So that's a good example. People pleasing, doing something at your expense. Someone else's energy is more important than yours, not checking with yourself first, giving your power away in a lot of reasons.
Is there a time that it's okay to do that?
No.
That's a consequential no. Like, you came right from the gut with that one.
Yes.
What about when your children ask? When they firebomb you from college, like, something's happening.
Right. So here's the thing. There's a huge difference between self-centered and centered in self. So self-centered is when you're not grounded in your power. You're grounded in your wounds, and, you want to take energy and people's time and things to support your wounds. But when you're centered in self, you understand, like, what feels right, what's the best for everyone in the situation in this moment, and you make a decision based on your intuition, your higher power. So, are there times that if there's an emergency, someone needs you? Of course, but there's also that balance of finding, if you're in a in a meeting or you can't be disturbed, then your child from college would need to wait a little bit. And sometimes you're still in that energetic space that you need to be grounded and in your power and centered in who you are to help someone else better.
That's what hold on. I forgot to say, we don't edit this in the beginning. And so I just came away from the mic because my table was tipping over and I wanted to be present with Audrey, so I had to fix it. But for everybody listening, we keep it real and authentic. There's no edification, so I'm sorry I came from the mic, but I was listening to you. So do you think under the term of divine empowerment and people pleasing is just for feminine, or do you see that universally with all your clients, men, women, others, they, them, and so on?
It's every client.
It's every client.
I mean, we're here to be in our divine aspects of self, healing all the wounds of our feminine energy and masculine energy, and everyone has both. So definitely. And I think that's part of what we're here for. That's part of what we're learning. We're learning self-love. We're learning how to be in our energetic power. We're learning how to balance that. And we're learning to, just use our creativity and love to be completely who we are.
So with the amount of energy work and I'm sure high sensing that you are, how does an energetic soul like you operate in what could be perceived as such a toxic world, riddled with all types of energies that are...
Yeah, no, I'm there.
At times...
Yep, I set a lot of boundaries. Sometimes I call it peopling. Sometimes I don't want to people. I don't want to go to the grocery store when it's busy. I don't want to be in that energy. So, I work at setting energetic boundaries, at shielding my field, at really checking in, how does this feel right now, clearing myself after. And I just do a lot of energy work. Like, I'm an energy geek. I send out healing all the time before I go somewhere, when I'm done, before I start my day. I use, that's why I love teaching, because I'm like, this is my life. I use these tools constantly and they work.
Isn't it great when you have a tool that works?
Yes.
And you want to share it? I just love what you just said, energy geek. It's like if we could get that viral on TikTok, that everybody used their energy in a positive way. And I hope that's what happens when they listen to Mav's Coffee Clarity. I hope that they energy geek out and know how important their energy is. You know, I do a little reflection every morning and reading, and I was reading about the voice of judgment, the VOJ, and how it clips your curiosity, how it stops growth. And why can't we go more into an observant type of mode? Okay, so moving right along. Now you're full throttle. It's 2023. What does your practice look like now?
So funny. So sorry, but I have to say,
Yeah.
as this is coming in for the voice of judgment, you know, it's energies usually in the mind and the logic and outside of yourself, how you judge yourself. So how you move from that is to drop into your heart. You know, when we drop down into our heart and feel something, then we'll realize, wow, I'm self-judging, and what do I do to get out of that is just what came.
Is that a business hack or a life hack?
Oh, I think a life hack, and then you apply it in your business and you apply it in all areas of your life.
Do you think it's hard to recognize that and grab it and do it?
Yes, because we're in these unhealthy patterns, and that's one of the reasons why I love energy work. It goes into the root of this patterning and changes it at the energetic level. Yeah.
That's worth saying again. That's a good visualization. It goes into
the energy, the cells, the tissue, wherever it needs to go. It finds the root, which is the imprint of when you first received something that changed how your body's operating optimally. And usually it's something on the emotional level, when we felt, you know, unseen, unvalidated, when we were hurt emotionally. And that changes everything. And, you know, we can live that way for 60 years and people think, oh, I don't have any trauma. I'm like, we all have trauma. We have so much trauma, and everybody.
Let's describe trauma, because when I grew up, trauma was like you got in a car accident, you had trauma. But that's not really what trauma is.
Unhealed emotions, and we all have them.
So trauma in your world is unhealed emotions. Give me an A to Z. Like, give me a minor unhealed and a major.
Sure.
So I want people, like, because the energy people know what we're talking about, but I'm hoping this reaches everybody that doesn't know what we're talking about. So I want to give them a baseline. Like, trauma is unhealed emotional imprints.
Well, trauma is unhealed emotions that cause imprints. They go into our cells and change everything because we're hurt, because we contract our energy. We're not expansive and radiating our heart love and our own energy. Our feelings get hurt. And that always happens when we're young. There's an adult that we care, that we love about, that doesn't see us, doesn't validate us, doesn't want us around, and doesn't honor us. And that hurts us deeply. And it's usually our family. And then that compounds, because then we, as I mentioned, we start contracting our energy, making ourselves small. You know, we don't understand how to handle that because we're children, and it can grow from that. Then the more we're not in our power, the more we kind of draw more hurt and pain. And, you know, I'm jumping now and something big, because this is reminding me, you know, I've worked on adults with cancer, and I have never felt more sadness in my life, in the cells, cellular level, and in the body. And the sadness just grows, and it feels horrendous. And I always say that to people, please make sure every day you work at clearing your sadness, because that sadness will build on the physical level. And, you know, that's been my experience, that I see what cancer is. And there's always stories. As soon as I touch someone, you know, I'm reading the energy. I'm seeing what happened to them, horrendous things. And
so that's kind of where Louise Hay, or maybe she didn't coin the term, maybe Catherine Ponder did. You know, when you're out of ease, you get dis-ease, D-I-S -E-A-S-E, out of ease. So that really tracks to what you're saying. And also now they're bringing more prayer than ever into cancer centers, and positive healing touch and all of that kind of stuff. So when you say, this would be very helpful for everybody, I believe, clear your sadness out. What is that like brushing your teeth? What are you recommending?
Oh, well, you know, there's a toolbox of infinity. So it's unique to you. It's whatever way you do that. Sometimes it's music. Sometimes it's journaling. Sometimes it's always that inner work that's, I think, exponential of, you know, as you mentioned, these things that are now in the medical world, that's helping repattern your body. It's helping take those imprints, those low vibrational imprints, out of the body, out of the tissues, out of everything, out of the cellular memory, and putting in something more higher vibrational. And it's our responsibility to do that. And we can receive help. You know, I have people that work on me. I love that. I definitely have a team of healers for myself that are helping me with all these same lessons. You know, and I'm someone that remembers past lives. So that's kind of funny too, when you're like, oh, there's this person, but I knew you when you did, you know, it's not so funny, but it's real. You know, the unseen world is quite real, but there are a myriad of ways to get rid of sadness. And even just thinking of it and saying, you know what, I'm going to make a new choice. I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to love myself through this. You know, sometimes people they'll feel something in their body and it might create, you know, this urgency, like, oh, I want to get that out, or, oh, just take these things out of me. I hear a lot of clients say that. And I just gently say, you know, how about we connect your heart to this area and you love that area.
Yes.
You love it so much because love is what love is what heals. Love is what transmutes everything, not anger.
What if
not
they don't
urgency.
feel love and you've now connected this area to their heart and they're like, I can verbally say I love, but I don't feel love. Is there a bridge there?
There is. I mean, the other part of this equation is what I'm taking through me, what the energy that's coming through me is always very high vibrational love. So I'm beaming that into everyone all the time. I just want them to make the connection in their body too. And if they can't feel it, which happens often, you know, we just find something like, well, what about this? Like, does this make you happy? When did you feel loved? You know, I'll recreate a memory for them that they can get into that, or I will, as a mirror, reflect to them the love that I see and feel from them. And that can be the hardest thing to receive when they're not ready to, but it's also the most powerful.
What's the most challenging part of Audrey's practice or life?
Oh boy, I've got to think about this one. Let's go to the practice. For me, my most challenging thing about my practice is running it as a business, because I don't have business savvy. I'm actually taking some online classes now because I know that energetically, like, you have to always have that business sense that matches, you know, the healing sense. So that's sort of a current challenge. And in my life, I guess the biggest challenge I had, which I also feel like I'm really coming out of, it's been a lifelong journey for me, is just loving myself so much that it doesn't matter whatever anyone else thinks of me. And, you know, I came here just feeling this connection and love in a world that didn't honor or validate the things that, you know, would hurt my feelings anytime someone was, you know, killed a fly or was mad at someone, or just, I would feel their pain. I would feel all the pain as an empath. And it was difficult to figure out. And, you know, on a funny note, I went to the doctor a lot when I was little because I felt so much, you know, when I was young, and the doctor would always say, you have nothing wrong with you. You're fine. So then I learned to, like, okay, this is just my life that I feel all these things. And I had to learn how to clear that, and then can help others, you know, to do that. So I guess the challenge, which we all have, right, is just being really comfortable and loving who we are and moving forward regardless of what people think or what their beliefs are, or whether they validate us or not. We're here to do that for ourselves.
I feel like in my work too, the common theme I see is that people don't trust themselves. They don't have confidence in themselves, which all tracks back to fear. Anything that isn't love is fear. And I find it's they allow it to peek its head in business, but they tamp it down in their personal life. So it's great to have this conversation because, like we said before we started the show, I think when people find their own inner essence, so you're, you know, saying, I'm saying love yourself, you're saying love yourself, I'm saying energetic vibration. But I also say, like, to my daughter Ava, who's young, your energy is going to continue to change. Like, who you came in as is just part of who you're becoming, even though it's all set in stone anyways. You know what I mean? You're just that flower blooming. And of course, there's going to be times that someone bites a petal off and nicks your stem and you didn't water yourself correctly and now you're wilting. But you're becoming. And the coolest thing that I love about the work we do is something's always rising, something's always dying. There's always transformation. Like, I'm in what one could perceive as a career evolution, or the next evolution of what I'm doing. You're constantly evolving. I think people, especially because I work, I tend to work multi-generational, but we're seeing the workforce be a little bit older, which is great. But they kind of dumb themselves down, like, oh, now I'm going to do this in my retirement career. What if it's not a retirement career? What if you're going to be like Colonel Sanders at 55 and start Kentucky Fried Chicken? So I think the importance of your work is really teaching people that's not over.
No, and every day
We're not waiting for the wheels. Like I saw a thing with Pink the other day. She's like, I'm going to do this till the wheels fall off the bus. How about if they never fall off the bus?
Exactly. But here's the thing, Denise, when you talked about that before, people are looking outside of themselves always. And they're judging like, oh, when I'm this age, this is what will happen. And I can't stand the whole idea of aging. I don't believe in it. I believe in regenerating. I think that's the body's natural state. So when people say, oh, it's my age, I'm like, please, that's not so. So, right. I love creating my own life. Like, what does my life look like? Because I know what I'm bringing in. I mean, I'm here bringing in new earth energies, and that we haven't had them yet. And I feel the energies that are coming in every day. They're higher vibrational. We haven't felt them. So it's really a great time that I certainly don't judge myself on the matrix or institutions or, the current status of things. I'm here like letting people know you can be anything you want. Break through those and create the most powerful, loving life that you ever want. And that's what we're here to do, I think.
So you're moving forward, which is, I just love every single thing you're saying. Are you the kind of person that plans 1, 2, 3, 5 years out? Like what's on the horizon for you? Are you just being?
I don't plan. And here's why. I really don't plan at all, because in this spiritual way of living, I'm a regular woman. I'm a regular woman living a spiritual life. And I leave room for spirit to guide me. And that's always been my biggest beneficiary, I think, is the unseen world. Even like this, like I had no idea I'd be doing a podcast. And those are the moments I love. Like, thank you. I had no idea how good this could be. My sister she first heard this great mantra, show me how good it can be. Yeah. And when you're in that energy every day, show me how good it can be. It's magnetic and it comes back to you. So I don't plan, but here's a little exercise I did on 11/11 for a great day of manifesting. I wrote down all that I am, what my life will look like, all the things I have yet to become and manifest, and wrote them all down. I just loved it. I had my tea in the morning and put it under my pillow. And a year from then, I'll see how many of those I've brought back to me. So I manifest and create, but I really don't plan.
We have a practice where we write down everything that we want to manifest in the year. And we actually put it out 5 years. So 1999, 2020, 2021, and so on. And it could be as simple as, fix the bathroom window or retile the floor or spend a month in Italy or have a baby. And it's remarkable when we go back. I'm speaking of my spouse now, Troy. It's remarkable when we go back and we see the things that we've achieved. And we've held these papers that we make at New Year's Eve for the past 25 years that we've been married.
I love that.
But the interesting thing was we took this property off the list. You see, so I say, you say make room for spirit. I say, you make your plans and God laughs. Have an intention and be true to your intention, not because it's the neighbor's intention or it's the latest thing on TikTok or TV. Like, know your essence so you know your intention. I do visual diagramming every day. That's how I clear my sadness. I up my energy. I set my resting rate. And there's days that I feel not great. And I know that, but I have to be great when I'm out there. Or just the best I can be, I should say. And so I do a little creative exercise, and I tell my clients, it's like brushing your teeth, right? Motivation and inspiration doesn't last, neither does bathing. That's why we do it daily, right? So if we are going to leave the audience with your greatest life hack or business intel, and of course, where they can find you, what would you tell them? In a little coffee cup of a snippet, a little creative nugget. You can't get them all, but give them your best.
I guess I would say, know that your power is limitless, and you have your ancestors, your guides. There's so much energy available to you to connect with, to be who you are, and don't ever forget that. As my little snippet, you can find me Instagram, Facebook, and my website at Awaken with Audrey. AwakenWithAudrey.com, AwakenWithAudrey@gmail if you want to get in touch with me. I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but that's on the horizon.
And you guys will see this on my channel and find ways to find Audrey And as always, it's been a pleasure, Audrey Herrick, having you here on Mavs Coffee Clarity, where you've just spilled the beans.
Woo-hoo,
Thank you so very much. And my friends, listen, we're new. We've had some tech difficulties with Apple Podcasts, but you still can catch us on SoundCloud. We're making it all work for you because that's what tenacious entrepreneurs do that are energetically resilient, empathic, and driven. All right. I hope to see you here next week. And if you like it, give us a review. And if you don't, email me and let's talk. And if you want to be a guest, go to www.denisedigrigoli.com and be in touch, my friends.